time for the Lowco Sports Lowdown. Here are your hosts, Justin Jarrett, Wes Kerr, and Max Arraj.
Hey, the gang's all here for the Thursday night edition of the Lowco Sports Lowdown, which will, of course, go werewolf bar mitzvah and turn into the Lowco Pigskin preview here in a few. But we will start tonight with some more volleyball news. Another big night for volleyball Thursday nights, and you were out in the nest, West, for the big one that we sort of alluded to the last couple of nights with Hilton Head and May River. Sharks came out on top in that one, four sets.
Yeah, kind of what I expected. Very similar to what we saw a couple nights ago with the Seahawks going up against the Bobcats. Found ways to hung around, but just didn't do enough early to hang with a solid May River team. So credit to the Sharks for playing a strong brand of volleyball coming into a road environment where the Seahawks were trying to bounce back after not finding what they wanted to accomplish at Bluffton, and similar situations here at home. But Hilton Head's right there. Competitive. First few sets are competitive, just unable to get the edge in terms of the consistency, because May River, they had a dominant hitter tonight in Kayla Braxton, who was making plays all over the place. And in addition to her, some great defense from the libero Isabel Trewick. She had a nice game. And then Caroline Boulware as well was impactful for the Sharks. So excellent defense and just great all-around play from the Sharks, who had to weather a couple of storms midway through this match, but able to get on top. So, it's interesting, the landscape of this region. I think everything's brewing towards what should be a terrific match next week between Bluffton and May River, which will have a ton of implications there. But then on top of that, we saw, I think you mentioned it right out of the gate, but Beaufort almost knocking off Bishop England in a 5-setter. Over that must have been a heck of a battle over there. But give credit to Beaufort for
it was on
Bishop England team that we all thought would be tops in the region, but Eagles were right there.
Yeah, gave them all they wanted. I watched the 5th set on Beaufort's own, and it was pretty good match. Going back and forth all night. I'm going to assume that Bluffton beat Colleton County. There's Jabon checking in. But Beaufort looked good, man. Allison Dennison is the real deal. Both, they put some big swings on the ball tonight, both sides of the ball. But Beaufort was really playing well. That's Beaufort in the black on the left and Bishop England in the green on the right. But it was quite a battle. So it definitely kind of changed my perspective a little bit, because I thought Bishop England was going to be the team to beat just based on the first couple of results. But now I'm like, I don't know. I think Bluffton may be the team to beat for right now, and I think the margins are fairly narrow between Bluffton, May River, Bishop England.
All these 4 teams, I think they might be a little bit further down, but especially Beaufort is looking a part of a contender, and we'll just see how they fare against both Bluffton and May River. So that mini round robin, I guess, between the top teams in this region could really shape in either direction. So I'm excited to see how things. You see both teams, or you see each team twice, home and away. So I'm interested in kind of finding out where these teams stack up when they end up playing against each other, and kind of let that dictate what we think about who might take the top spot. But it's up for grabs for sure. I still think Bishop England might be the slight favorites. It's never easy going on the road and having to pull it out in 5. Nice job to close it out there by the battling Bishops. Beaufort's right there. They proved it. Dennison, once again, we talked about that family with James and Michael in the past. Those from football, basketball teams. Their younger sister can play as well on the volleyball court. So runs in the family for sure over there for the Beaufort Eagles, and looking forward to seeing how they compete against, because like I said, I think they're right close with May River and I think Bluffton as well. So a lot more excitement to come on the volleyball court, but impressed with what I saw as well from May River. As I said, that team has been right there for a number of years, and they're coached tremendously well. These kids, kind of like Bluffton, they have that culture, that communications skills, which is so critical. By the eye test, just like witnessing both of these games back to back or in the 2 and 3 days, um, there's not much between those two teams. I'd maybe give a slight favorite to Bluffton. I thought they had a little bit more in terms of the offense, and I think they're a little bit more of a talented and deeper team. But May River is right there as well. So slight edge to Bluffton from just watching these two teams play. Hilton Head, but like I said, it's all matchup dependent, and I think May River has the opportunity to hold their own. I think Bluffton, though, does have a little bit more, especially with that leadership that we had on the pod yesterday, and then the defending from their libero, who was just phenomenal that night. And not to say May River doesn't have those pieces as well. I just think Bluffton has a little bit more of that
Right.
talent. But we'll see. I mean, it's fun. These games are. I mean, it's close to a coin. It's going to be close to a coin flip between those two squads. I'm excited to see what.
Yeah, I mean, when the margins are that narrow, then it comes down to the little things, the little details. Who was just a little bit sharper, a little bit crisper, a little more focused, who got up those 50-50 balls and who didn't.
Right.
So very even matchups, and in many cases that home court advantage and that energy off the home crowd may end up being the difference. So should be a really fun back and forth. What else we got today, boys, on the non-football front? You got anything else cracking?
There's a swim meet going on over at the Nest. I just was popping in to see what was going on. We'll have to see if we can round up.
Always hard to find results from those.
I know. You have to grab one of those heat sheets or online or something like that.
Yeah, unless you're there, it's tough to come up with those. I wonder if Bo Gwynn.
I
wonder if Bo Gwynn knows about the boys volleyball.
Oh yeah, we had Seahawks at May River.
I haven't seen anything.
And then we also had a golf match for Region 6-4A at Rose Hill today.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything on that just yet. So still working on those, but the LowcoSports Lowdown is presented by Mickelson Law Firm, our all-star sponsor, our original sponsor, and they've been with us since the beginning in 2017. They can help you with all your legal needs right here in Bluffton, and they're our official real estate closing attorney. And the presenting sponsor of our Hilton Head Christian Academy coverage, as well as the LowcoSports Lowdown. We thank the Mickelson for all their support over the years, and hope they'll stick with us, and hope you'll call on them for your legal needs. Javon saying from what he's seen, he likes Bluffton off of defensive skills. Haven't seen May River yet, though. Buford impressed tonight. No Allie, but Chloe had a great night.
I agree.
Bluffton's defense is what impressed me.
Yeah. They saved a lot of potential points in terms of opportunities in hitting for Hilton Head. So I thought that the Bobcats were tremendous across the board, but especially, as you mentioned, just saving those Hilton points. I mean, those add up when you look into the grand scheme of who won and who lost those different sets and ultimately the match. But yeah, it's very close. By the way, if anyone can help me about how to read a volleyball box score or one of those score books, I tried.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it's a bunch of.
Nope. I can't. It looks like hieroglyphics.
Yeah.
I'd rather play the game than look at the books, if I'm being honest. Like,
I can read the box score on Max Preps.
Yes.
Like,
That's
Justin West, I'm gonna be honest. Like, when it comes to watching Wes do like baseball scorebooks and stuff like that, I can't. Like,
You're lost.
I've never been able to handle that before.
Oh, we gotta teach you that.
Yeah,
it's not.
Yeah, we gotta teach you that.
It's not.
I know it's not hard, but I don't know.
There's a couple of like central tenets that you have to learn, and then the rest you just get to make up your own system.
Yeah, right.
Over time, you're like, where am I going to put RBIs? And then you decide where to put those.
I will admit, I will agree. I have seen volleyball scorebooks, and those are the most like confusing things I've ever seen.
Yeah, a wrestling scorebook looks that way too until you know what you're looking at.
Yeah,
but then once you figure it out, you're like, oh, that makes sense.
kind of the base idea
Yeah.
for wrestling, but volleyball, you have
The
like these
volleyball
squares
one
and
is
triangles and these like upside down T's or something.
total hieroglyphics.
Yeah.
Javon says you're on your own on that one. He cannot help you with that. It's a mystery. You have to be in the secret society to know the volleyball scorebook.
But what I do know is
code.
that I had a ton of fun watching both these Bluff to May River teams. Very talented squads, very well coached, and man, just the effort that they show, the communication, and the way they're able to keep points alive and come up with some defensive plays, and then just an all-out effort, because that's what wins you points, is that extra ounce of effort that you need to come up with the point-saving play or to finish it off, or just to make that great pass. There's so much that goes into what makes a great team, and it's a fantastic team sport, because it really takes a bit of everyone to make a successful play. And so many sports talk about how much communication is necessary, but especially in volleyball, there are so many little things that as a casual fan might not see. So it's great that we've had some players talk about like what goes into how they kind of see where everyone is and see where they need to be, and so it's a very intricate sport, and there's a lot of strategy and notes behind it on where you have to be at a certain point. But yeah, we have some talent in the Lowco for sure, and it's been great to see the rivalries, which is when we talk about the football, Bluff and May River, but it's really growing to become a rivalry in volleyball as well. And to have I think the other big thing is having a boys scene, or having boys teams, I think is important, because it brings that co-ed mindset, I guess you could say, where you're able to the women are able to help the guys, and sometimes vice versa. You never know, but it's great to see that the opportunity for both the boys and the girls to improve and get better, and just to see that those teams hype up each other. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, I wish we had like some basketball, where you have the guys game and the girls game. You have like the 2-and-1s, but they do it like it is in soccer, where you have the guys play on one of the home fields and the girls play on the other. It's not like in basketball where you have the guys and the girls game in one spot. But
yeah, true. I kind of wish they did that more. I think it would be fun if they did the back-to-back like they do basketball, But I understand why you want to have the guys don't really have JV teams yet, but I understand why the girls want to have the JV and the varsity at the same place, because same coaching staff. And that would become a triple header, and that becomes a whole ordeal
that's a lot of work
with transportation and well, it becomes more about the transportation, because everybody's got to ride the same bus probably. So now you got to leave school at 3:30 and not get home till 10 or whatever, and it just doesn't make sense. But it would be cool to have the boys and girls go double headers, at least for like region matches maybe, and you could schedule the JVs on different nights. I don't know, but it would be cool, or maybe just for a one-off every now and then. Couple of things that I was scrolling around and saw. A football result tonight: Blackville Hilda beat Denmark Olar. That's relevant in that Denmark is in the same region with Hardyvale and Ridgeland. And then another thing. Oh, this is cool. Lowco adjacent as well. Remember Clemson quarterback Kelly Bryant?
Yes.
You do, of course, both of you.
Of course,
He has been hired at Woodland High School as a student concern specialist, and he's going to coach the quarterbacks for the Wolverines. They're already undefeated.
Oh, my God.
That's pretty cool.
Wow,
that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
That's pretty
I
cool.
remember I got to watch him play live in the ACC championship when they beat Miami many years ago and won the ACC. But yeah, it was fun to watch him at Clemson. But that's a good get for Woodland, especially with how well we saw that offense churn against Whale Branch. To have a guy who recently played at the highest level of college football and succeeded for a top tier program. It's cool to see those guys stay in the promote space and then go back to coaching high school. It's always a lot of
Also, I
fun.
forgot.
But,
I think,
speaking of Clemson connections, Steve Fuller over there at Hilton Prep. So that's
Yep.
kinda,
Yeah,
I was about to
and
mention, because
Mhm.
Justin, you have ties with Kelly Bryant too. Because if I'm not mistaken, Kelly Bryant transferred from Clemson and ended up going to Mizzou, wasn't it?
yes,
yep.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
he did.
It was a forgettable. It's forgettable when your guy only plays 1 year and then
Yeah.
Yeah, but still,
goes on.
he
Oh,
still has
why do
ties
we
with
have the
all of us.
Christian Academy in
I
Carolina?
did like watching Kelly Bryant
So
play.
I've just seen some news that Hilton Head Prep's game against Christian Academy of Myrtle Beach has been postponed to October 25th due to a
Hmm.
conflict with the other team.
Okay.
So, all right. So
Okay.
scratch that one off the list. That's 3
Well-
off the list now, by the way,
Oh wow.
this week. Because
Prep
let me
was
see.
playing Carolina Academy this week.
Yeah, no,
wasn't
that was no that
So that
either a
was also-
schedule changed or I typed it wrong. One or the
Yeah.
other.
So it's
Because it
supposed to be
was
Myrtle Beach
Christian Academy of Myrtle Beach.
Okay.
it? So
Yeah.
Prep again does not have a game this week.
So no game for the Prep. They've had a
No
couple.
game
weeks
for
off.
prep.
They've had 2 weeks
Yeah.
off, and one game, and then
Played one and now another one off. So they're getting a lot of practice in. The other two that we lost, we mentioned last night, Ridgeland versus Burke is scratched because Burke has a bunch of guys suspended, as does Hemingway because they didn't
Yes, I heard
get
about
along.
that.
They didn't get
Yeah.
along last week. So Burke had to forfeit that one. So Ridgeland gets the soft dub, and the other one was Thomas Hayward. Faith Christian, despite it being a
Yeah,
region game, said, "Nah, we'll pass." So
Yeah,
it takes the dub there.
So,
I'm told that Thomas Hayward made some inquiries to try to get another game because JP2 and Ridgeland both found themselves. JP2 was off and Ridgeland was that opponent, but found no takers. So
yeah, it's a little bit of a
no
light,
game for the Reds.
lighter
Well, it'd
stint
be
this
cool to
week.
see Ridgeland play Thomas Hayward. Be the battle for Ridgeland.
They did it one time a few years ago.
Yeah, bring it back.
It was
Come on.
Yeah, I mean, my boss told me to reach out to Thomas Hayward about scheduling next year. So may see Canes versus Rebs
That could be
come to the
interesting.
Ville, right?
that.
That'd be fun.
Heck yeah.
That would be fun. We may get a little Jasper County championship. But all right. So what do we have on tap? Well, we'll get into that momentarily after we shout out our MVP sponsors. We got Homegrown Home Inspections. They're the best in the biz when it comes to checking out a home to make sure it is a good purchase. And if you're doing building a new home, you got to do their phased inspection where they check on it every step of the way and make sure it's built right with Homegrown Home Inspections. Got Hospice Care of the Low Country, official hospice provider providing hospice care, free grief counseling, and palliative care, plus much more at Hospice Care of the Low Country, where it's not about dying, it's about living. And then we've also got Base Hit Life, our apparel partner, providing baseball and softball apparel, t-shirts, hoodies, hats, all kinds of stuff. Got some cool Halloween gear right now. It's that time of year. So check out basehitlife.com and live your best base hit life. And we'll welcome in Marcus Walsh to help us shift into Lowco Pigskin preview mode. What's up, buddy?
Gentlemen, how are we?
I know you've been looking forward to Thursday night all week because it's the gateway to Friday night, right? So
it's going to be interesting tomorrow, and I always look forward to these Thursday nights, especially since I said, yeah, I'm going to be covering a lot of games, and I'll see about scouting some teams that I'm certainly going to be calling. So I'm looking to get to some new environments, possibly, or see some different teams like I did with Goose Creek last week. But yeah, I always love the end of the work week. It's the beginning of what truly is the test for me to get ready to call all these games each week.
There it is. We just put it on officially. The Lowco Pigskin Live skin. We're now shifting into preview mode for week 4
And
of the
where
high
will you
school.
be?
Week
Where will you be this week,
4.
Marcus?
Marcus will be in the Rebo Road Bowl.
I'm gonna be where everybody's gonna be. We've
Sounds
got
like it.
BCTV. I heard Buford's Zone is also
Well,
covering
that's the
game,
same
whether
thing.
they're
Buford Zone and
actually-
BCTV are
And
one and the
we
same.
just started doing stuff with BCTV in the last couple of weeks.
Right, we worked with them
you
for
know,
the
baseball and
Dixie World
whatnot.
Series.
So yeah, I know that you're planning on being there as well for part of it, right? JJ certainly talked
I am,
to you
yeah.
for Battery Creek. It's the
Yep.
it's the game, you know, loco on loco of the weekend.
Eh,
As far as we
there's
can
another good one too.
kinda-
You might want to hold. No, I think the other
okay.
one versus 3 in our power rankings, is probably the Loco on Loco game of the
well,
weekend with
it's true.
Hampton
but,
and Hilton Head.
you know, as speaking of just about everybody that's going to be there, and that is going to be a great
Oh,
game.
I mean,
Question.
yeah, all of Buford.
It seems
All
like
of Buford.
I'll
will
be
be
at,
for-
I'll be at the
for-
next.
Oh yeah,
Everybody,
Well, I think
especially
the
in terms
reason-
of us and whatnot, it's
I think
going to be
the
interesting.
reason for that
Yeah.
game is not only is it a rivalry,
rivalry.
but I think this is the best opportunity Battery Creek has had in, let's say, over a
Yes.
decade of being able to maybe beat Buford
Easy.
High School. You know, like this is the first time Battery Creek has a team that may be able to compete with a Buford team that just
You know, they're trending in different
hasn't looked like
directions for
themselves.
sure. They're trending in different
Yeah.
directions. Battery Creek, it seems to be on that emotional high, picking up another solid win last week over Bethune Bowman. And then on the other hand, Buford is just trying to scrap and claw and get off the schneid and get that first win, although their schedule has been difficult, although I'm sure they would have loved to get that first one last week in Goose Creek. I thought that was a winnable game for the Eagles, but
I did too.
turned out to be the fourth straight loss to start the season. But, you know, Samari Bonds coming back is going to be an important factor, especially Samari Bonds with fresh legs and, you know, coming in.
I'll
Yeah.
say this, Wes, and I actually sent information to Justin.
Thank you. I was about to ask
There-
for that, Joe.
Yeah,
They're
I was
not
gonna say you might
sure.
want to wait for the injury report before you make your
Okay,
predictions.
so what's
Javon.
this? What's have you heard the status? Have you heard the
Well,
status?
they're not sure. There's a
They
bunch of
keep
guys.
it the cards of the vest. It's going to be
There-
one of those mind game things where they don't announce the starter until
Well, actually, Marcus has a pretty good injury report.
There are a bunch of guys in our report that we do with the coaches every week. We don't have a whole lot of detailed information as to what, but for both teams, there are a bunch of guys that are out.
Mhm.
And at the moment, certainly, Samari Bonds is a game time decision.
Yeah. So
This
according to
game-
Marcus's iCryo wellness report, Samari Bonds game time decision, Chaz Brown out, Amari Patterson out, Battery Creek. This is where it's
This
dangerous.
is going to be interesting.
Damian Freeman out, Grayson Tracewell on the line out, Nigel Fripp out, Derek Smalls out.
Goodness, this is like San
Derek
Francisco,
told me that
LA,
he banged
yeah,
up his shoulder pretty good last week.
And I
Yeah.
figured you may
Yeah.
have known about that, JJ, just because of
Also-
the fact that you guys had him on Monday, and that was a terrific interview, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
he's great, right?
Well,
Well, here's the history.
Yeah. Yeah, for those of you who are watching and have no idea what this is all the matchups as of tonight between Buford and Battery Creek since 2003, which is the last time Battery
Yeah.
Creek has beaten Buford. So this game means a lot, but with that injury report, I'm a little more intrigued about how this is going to go.
If you guys
it's a
don't
little-
mind
a little
that I
dicey.
just kick it off, of course, I'm not going to pick the game because I'm going to be calling the game. But I will say, you know, I expect ground and pound, a bunch of it, because we don't know who's going to play. I think this is going to be as closely contested. There have only been 2 games that Battery Creek has been close in. I think they are going to play this one really tight with Buford. You can never count Buford out because of what Bryce Lybrand does with that team. And I think they're going to be ready to give it everything that they have. I think both teams will. But who is available for both these teams? That's the key for me this
That
week.
next man up mentality. You're
Well,
definitely
yes.
going to have to produce for.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, you know that Beaufort's going to have more depth, and
Well, yeah.
and Battery Creek's got a longer injury report right now, so that's not a great sign for the Dolphins. I believe Susie's doing a great job. I think Battery Creek is on the right track, and I think they're gonna make the playoffs certainly, but maybe surprise a little bit in that region. But I also think they recognize that this game, as much as they would love to end that streak and beat Beaufort, it ain't worth risking long-term injury to the guys that are going to help them compete in that region. And so taking that cautious approach is probably the move. And, I think that Beaufort will have the edge in this one. I think Beaufort probably gets it done with those guys all out. Just leaves them pretty thin in the backfield. They got Eddie Hayward, who's been pretty good, but there's just no 1-2 punch there with all the other guys out. So it'll be tough. Chase Olson's going to have a lot on his shoulders, I think, on Friday night. But there was back in 2011, Javon went for 117 against the Eagles for Creek and lost a fumble that we still talk about today. Final in that one, Eagles 62, Dolphins 6.
Nice.
Great. I'm going to push that one on Javon for the time being. Man. Come on, Javon.
Hey, he put up 117 on the ground in the losing effort, though.
Bro. It was pretty
Pretty
good.
solid.
I
mean, it's funny that they were running the ball that much when they were down that big, but must not have had much of a quarterback.
I'll say this.
Is that when we had the Jerry Hatcher over there at Beaufort and Mark Clifford? Was that?
Yeah, that would have been the Clifford Hatcher era at Beaufort. Jim Schumann beginning his era there at Creek at that time, and he had a good run. He had him on good footing for a couple of years there, but then he went somewhere else. Hampton, I think.
I'll just say this
It sounds right.
Yeah, before that injury report came around, I was kind of like going towards Battery Creek.
You were toying with it?
Yeah, I was toying with it. But now, I agree with you, Justin. I think they're going to play this game with a bit of caution because one bad play and your season could be in serious jeopardy. So
there are more important games.
The other thing I would say is this: Beaufort's one bad play for Beaufort could put their season in jeopardy too, and it's because their injury report's not much better compared to Battery Creek's.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they sit Samari. Just because they've got a bye week next week before they start region.
You want them fresh to start a region play.
That's the perfect time for them.
Or if they play him like the first half and then get him out of there or something like that, just to get him knock the rust off a little bit. But they're not going to risk much with him.
Yeah, I'll go Beaufort with this one. I don't think it's going to be close, but I was hoping for it to be a great game. But with that injury report, it's kind of for me out the door at this point. I would say Beaufort wins this one, gets their first win, goes into a bye week on the right note, and I think that's what they definitely need. Come to the dark side now. Sorry, Javon, not this week. Hey, maybe next year, man. I think next year Battery Creek and Beaufort could be a really good matchup. If Battery Creek improves,
could be. They lose a good bit, but they return a good bit.
If they continue to improve under Ed Susie, I think Ed Susie is definitely the right man for the job from what I've seen this season. So I just, if he continues to improve this program and maybe even bring some players in, it could be
or bring some back. That are zoned Battery Creek, but have been going to Bridges or Whale Branch, or you can also get Bridges kids who are zoned Battery Creek to play football because Bridges doesn't have football. So I think they're definitely, you're right. There are more guys out there that aren't playing for Battery Creek that could be playing for Battery Creek if that culture continues to change and they see that they're building a winning program. The pendulum always swings. It just tends to sometimes swing further in one direction than it does in the other. And Creek's got a little bit of a pendulum swing right now, and they just need to ride the momentum. So, but I think there's something happening there. I definitely do. Wes, you'll be our other. Everybody's on Buford, right? Marcus won't make
I'm
an
as
official
well.
pick,
I'm as
but-
well. I'd love to see Battery Creek pull off the upset. I just think the depth favors Buford a
Wow,
little bit.
Michigan.
And just the fact that the Eagles would desperately love
This
a
is
win
a
at this setting. You want to get one before region play, just
Yeah.
confidence wise. If you're
Good
Bryce
feelings.
Library, I think they just have a little more than Creek is going to have. But it's definitely the most interesting it has been between these two teams in a while. Even like more so than a few years back when they played in region. There was one year that they were kind of trending a little closer towards each other. Obviously Buford showed that they were significantly better, but I think this game could absolutely be a closer one, and one that could go down to the last few minutes. But I am going to go with Bryce Ladder and Buford to get their first win of the season on Friday.
Yep, I think so too. Wes, you'll be at the Hampton Hilton Head game, our other Loco on Loco matchup, and I think that is the game of the
That might
week
be the
for
game of the
me.
week.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's a really good one.
1-3.
Yeah, 1-3 in our power rankings. I guess the way I summarized it today on last night in the Loco is Hilton Head's trying to do what Bluffton couldn't. They're trying to fend off the hurricane as it comes to town. And Bluffton wasn't ready for it. I think Hilton Head will. They know what they're up against for sure. We talked about it some last night. I think Hilton Head's defense has the horses to hang in there. I think they're fairly disciplined. I don't think they're gonna totally blow it. But I also think that there's a really good coaching staff on the other side that's going to be well prepared for what they do. I think Hampton's a little better at most spots when the ones are out there, but I think Hilton Head's got a little more depth. So for me, the key is Hilton Head's got to hang in there as long as they can. If they're in the game in the fourth quarter, I think they have a real chance to have more gas in the tank and pull it off.
Yeah.
But with that said, man, Hampton's really, really, really good.
They can beat you in a bunch of different ways. They showed it on Friday. Obviously, with the defensive start they had, Hilton Head, I think you put it to a T where the Seahawks need to survive the first two quarters and hang around and take care of the football, no matter who starts at quarterback. If it's Ranazuski, if they turn to somebody else, the Seahawks are going to have to make sure they put together quality possessions. At worst, flipping the field and making it difficult for Hampton to show off their offensive attack, which was impressive against Bluffton. But I think Hilton's defense is a little better. I will say losing Connor Wendell is a big hit. That's a significant blow because he was kind of that Swiss Army guy, could do so many different things well, and just a heck of a motor out there for BJ Payne's unit. But they still have some guys who have shown that they can handle the jobs that they have to perform. So I still think this defense is very strong. I think Hampton's going to have to produce at a higher level than what we saw against Bluffton, and I think that makes it pretty interesting. Although if it comes down to what these teams have late in a ball game and who has the opportunity to pull out a victory, I just can't go against Hampton County. They have looked the part throughout the first couple weeks of the season. They have a stout defense who can come up with some big stops. Once again, Chris Terry, don't sleep on him. He can make the big throws. Yep. Bovane has been a dynamic threat out wide. And of course, the best player on the field, Agent Zero, Jalen Singletary, no matter where he plays on either side, he's that guy. He is that bona fide playmaker.
He is him.
Absolutely. And he's going to be the guy who provides that difference if Hampton County most likely wins this game. And there are some others who have done their job and stepped up. I thought the defense did a fantastic job pressuring McCarthy and that dynamic passing offense.
Yeah.
Hilton Head provides a different threat. They're more of a run-heavy team, but if the Seahawks are, as we would think they would be, predicated on the run, Hampton has the guys to go into that box and make it difficult and provide that havoc on the line to force Hilton Head out of the comfort zone. And then,
that's it for me. I think that's it for me. That's the biggest factor for me is Hampton's pass rush. You look at what they did to McCarthy early on, and young quarterbacks on the other side, whichever one's in there. I think they're going to be able to get them a little rattled, get the feet happy, and probably force some mistakes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
I would say this. I think if Hilton Head plays better than Bluffton did through the first 2 quarters, I think this game is closer than people think it will be. I really like how Hilton Head plays on the offensive side of the ball. From what I've seen, they're really good. There's a reason they're ranked 3rd in our power rankings. They're good for a reason. They are a really, really good-looking team. However, I think Hampton County is the best team right now in the Low Country, and there's a reason they're ranked number 1 in 2A football. They are that good. They already beat a 4A school this past Friday. I think it could be a closer game, and if that's the case, I think I know where I stand in terms of the 4A region. I think it's going to be a closer game than people expect because I expect Hilton Head to play better through the first 2 quarters than Bluffton did last week. I'm taking Hampton County, but I wouldn't put it past Hilton Head to make this a close game. I say a 2-touchdown game.
Yeah, so like a 10, 11-point margin if you're making a spread today.
The line. Gerhardt's taking Hampton and laying the points. He's got him by at least 21.
It's
a wide margin.
The game is at Hilton Head, though, correct?
It is at Hilton Head.
It is. Yeah.
But Hampton showed out they've been performing on the road.
But that's okay. They bring the bell on the road.
Yeah. They bring their fans too.
And one time comes, so everybody comes. The band comes. The whole town comes.
Great atmosphere.
I know
on the road too.
I saw Hilton Head against Aiken for the first time this year. And I'll call a couple of Hilton Head games, including next week in the Bridge Bowl, and then I'll see them against May River. But it just seems like something is different with this Hilton Head team this year. On the offensive side, they have a plethora of guys that can run the football. The offensive line, led by Jason Braymiller and company, are doing a great job to give holes for whether it's Zarnecki or Timko, you name it. Carson Haynes is finding open holes, and then all of a sudden you find out what they have at quarterback and the fact that they have several guys that can do that and play well and be multifaceted. And their defense, I forgot about the fact that Wendell was out, but their defense can still step it up and make some big plays when needed.
Yeah.
I think you guys know where I'm going. I'm calling for the upset. If it was at home for Hampton County, I think I'd be more liable to take Hampton County. I'm going to take Hilton Head at home for the upset.
Bold. It's a bold choice, Cotton.
Oh man,
bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for him.
I made the mistake of choosing Bluffton last week. I'm not making that again. The way Hampton played that first half against Bluffton, I can't make that mistake.
Even though Max thinks that the Seahawks are
really ridiculously good looking.
I do think they are.
You said they're a really, really good-looking team, and I had to pull up that.
Thank you.
Really ridiculously
They're a really, really good team. I do like Hilton Head a lot. From what I've seen in the film I've seen from their games against Aiken, as well as James Island for that matter. I like this Hilton Head team. They're good, but they're not Hampton County good.
I agree.
Oh man.
I you're on Hampton, right, Wes? Yeah.
Sometimes you feel it's an emotional decision sometimes But then
Yeah,
when you
Marcus
think
is
of it,
caught up in it.
right.
Yeah.
Sometimes you make
Wes,
emotional picks, sometimes you make
Wes,
picks
you
based
poured
on
so-
Hilton
you're
Head better
going- oh,
dodge,
you're
duck,
going back
dip,
here.
dive, and dodge. Are
Yeah.
you
You know,
backing out? Are you going to the? You going to the Seahawks?
I'm going there. How about you, Max?
I am not. I will be in Bluffton High
Oh.
School.
No, I meant, are you going? Are you switching your pick
Oh.
to the Seahawks?
No.
No, like I said, emotionally, I'll go Hilton Head, but I think the better team is Hampton County. Maybe the Seahawks will they'll need a full effort, full 48-minute effort if they want to pull off what would be a heck of a shocker at home against Hampton, because I think Hampton County has shown that they are the clear number one team in the Low Country and the clear number one team in Class 2A high school league football.
I will definitely be ready to eat crow if I get that pick wrong.
Yeah.
Don't you guys worry about that.
So
We'll bring
Get
Agent
ready
Zero
for
on
Monday,
here to serve
Marcus.
it to
It's
you.
gonna be fun. Get
We'll
ready
bring
for
Agent
Monday,
Zero on to
Marcus.
serve it to
We'll
you.
be making
Um,
turkey crow on Monday, man.
Max, you're gonna go to the
Hampton
Den, right? Check out Bobcats
I
against
am.
Lucy.
Yeah, I
Is that
think
the plan?
yes, it is.
All right,
I'm
good.
gonna say this.
That's an interesting matchup.
Yeah.
Javon wants you to be a homer like him, Wes, and show your powder blue soul. Well, they're both powder blue. They're both powder blue.
They are
True.
both powder blue.
True.
But yeah, you'll be over at the Den, which is a very interesting matchup. Bluffton, 2 losses in a row, but showed
and
life
by the
for
way,
sure in
Hampton
the
County
second
gave
half
me
last week.
their getting me one of those dog photos last year. So
True. You're part of the
Good.
team now.
Yeah, man.
Dog. That was great. But no, Bluffton, Lucy Beckham is an interesting matchup. Coach Gearhart said he'll be there. He said he'd be our correspondent if we needed one, but we got Max on the case. Bluffton's lost 2 in a row, showed life in the second half last week, but again, going back to the pressure on the quarterback, I thought that was the difference when McCarthy has time to survey the field and go through his progressions and then tuck it and run if he doesn't like it. He looks really good, but when they got him, when they sped the game up and made him have to think on the move a little bit more, he made some mistakes. So, I think Beckham will be tough up front, and they'll give him fits in the backfield again. Bluffton's going to have to get the ball out quick and not get behind the 8 ball again, because they need to be able to run the ball a little bit to keep people honest. And when they're falling behind early, they have a hard time doing that. So I'm on the fence on this one. I'm kind of leaning Beckham unless you guys convince me otherwise.
I'm gonna say this. I think I agree with you. Bluffton played better the second half, but they got to play like that in the first half too.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just do one half of playing like that, especially not the second half. They made so many mistakes that first half. I was like, this kind of feels like Savannah Country Day all over again, because they made some of those same mistakes against Savannah Country Day that week before Hampton County, and they continued to do that. Now, the second half was much better. They were still kind of making mistakes in the second half, but I think they fixed some of those problems. But they're really going to need to be awake and ready to go for the first half, or else, again, you don't want to do this to Hampton County. You don't want to do the same thing to Lucy Beckham. Lucy Beckham's a very good team, and not a team to mess with. I'm gonna go Bluffton, but I think it's close. If Bluffton can't find a way to be successful in the first half, it could be a long night for them.
I'm going to go Bluffton as well. Looking ahead, obviously, to next week, and I know I just took Hilton Head over Hampton County, but that's who they have next week, and I'll be calling that for WHHI, the Bridge Bowl. It's always a great game.
Oh yeah,
I'll be on that call for WSAV.
I'll see you there.
Everybody.
That's going to be a great game, but Bluffton has to take some steps after losing 2 in a row, and this is a good week to get ready for the biggest game that they have coming up to this point, in my opinion. So, it's now or never. And with the fact that they've lost 2 in a row, they have to get things back on track. And I have a feeling that things are a little bit tense there in Bluffton with practices and whatnot. This is a get right game for them. I think they're going to be ready to show up and put up some numbers and get after it to get ready for the Hilton Head game. You doing that with Andrew Davis, by the way?
I'm not sure. My guy Dan Flaxer asked me to do it. I presume so. It's
Yeah,
usually
he is
Andrew
the play guy.
when they do the Low Country games.
Right.
I hope so. I love working with Andrew.
Yeah,
he's
one of a
fantastic.
kind. Definitely
So easy to work with.
Fun to
Great
work
guy.
with for sure. I'm going to go Bluffton.
Going
Ooh.
Bluffton. Interesting. Wes,
Yeah,
did you
I mean,
make it
it's possible. I think Bluffton has a lot to prove this week. You want to, I think more so than win this game. I think you just want to show that you're on the right track and playing like you did to start the season. And I think that if they can carry over some things that we saw the second half in the Hampton County game, I think Bluffton can be very competitive. The offense needs to go off to a hot start. You can't get behind the sticks. You can't turn the ball over. And this is a very strong Lucy Beckham team that has obviously they've shown some offensive firepower of their own, which is going to task Bluffton's defense for making some stop as well. And let's see if McCarthy and company can keep pace. But this Lucy Beckham team, they've won 3 straight, including a pretty nice win over Hanahan just last week.
And as Javon noted, they smoked Philip Simmons 38-9.
38-9. I was about to say that. So,
scaring me a little bit.
although transit property game, they lost to West Ashley,
Right.
Who lost to May River. So,
Right.
always some fun transitive property things at play. Also, Hanahan lost to Bishop England 24-14.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of fun to make those comparisons between different
Yep.
regions to see where everybody stands. I do think Lucy Beckham's a little bit better for as of right now compared to what we've seen with Bluffton, but that home environment, that home energy is always a factor. They need a strong start. They need to get those fans energized. That student section needs to be hyped from the start because it kind of took the air of the crowd a little bit on that Bluffton side when the game started the way it did. So
Yeah.
if Bluffton can get on that right,
the rave turned into a bad trip real fast.
Yeah, those fans left. Those fans left midway through, and certainly it was a different environment. So if Bluffton can get off that hot start than what we've seen in the first couple of games, and find a way to keep pace with Lucy Beckham, they're going to have themselves a chance. But I think this will be, maybe a 1 or 2, most likely a 10-7 or so around that area margin of victory, I believe, for Lucy Beckham. But it's not out of the realm of possibility that Bluffton can put it all together after a disappointing showing the week before, and would be a huge momentum building win heading into region play, heading into that Bridge Bowl next week. So this is obviously next week's the one that you might mark on your calendar, but I think this is an enormous week ahead and an enormous opportunity for Bluffton to get back on, as Max says a lot of time, get back on that right track and push yourself into the position where we are ready to go to get ready for the Seahawks after what we saw.
I need that Bluffton team to look like they did against Whale Branch. That's what I want to see out
Right?
of Bluffton. That's what I want to see out of them.
Well, and then at this stage, I think we start to wonder a little bit, was that more Whale Branch than Bluffton? Whale Branch definitely kind of went through the motions in that one. We do know that.
Bluffton did get a nice win over Andrew Jackson.
They did.
Yeah. That's Andrew Jackson, certainly they're 0-3. So that's not as a quality.
I mean, there's no question that Bluffton's got ability, like potential, major potential. They've got to put it all together.
We mentioned it last week. They got the talent, but they need to stop with the mistakes and stop forcing.
Yeah, they just got to clean it up. Got to clean it up. But I do think I'm going Beckham. I think it's competitive, but ends up probably like you in the 1 to 2 touchdown range. What sold me is they've got 22 tackles for loss and 11 sacks in 3 games. So they get after the quarterback. And, I just saw the happy feet a little bit last week when they were getting after him. I think he's still growing through that a little bit, which that's the hardest part is, it's easy when you have time to stand back there and go through the reads. But how about when there's 3 big old jokers chasing you down and you still make the right decision then? I
think some opportunities to make some plays. It just didn't happen enough in that Hampton County game. But maybe
he's growing through it.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he's growing through it every week.
Turning point for for McCarthy to kind of fix what went wrong and see if you can put that best foot forward and deliver a quality game, not necessarily win, but a better performance and an effort that will keep your team in a tight ball game, which is a really good Lucy Beckham team, and a Lucy Beckham team that's now 5A after they were region mates for a couple of years. So should be an interesting one over at the Den, although I think Lucy Beckham has a decently sized edge in this game. I think there's still an opportunity for Bluffton to make this interesting, if not contend for a win. I'm excited. Yeah. Obviously, I can't be everywhere at once, but those Bluffton games have been terrific, and just the environment of the crowd. Homecoming was
no
great
lead is safe.
Yeah. For sure.
No
and
lead is
there
safe
was
in
some.
the Den.
I'll tell you what. After the onside kick recovery last week for Bluffton against Hampton County, and they went down the end, scored. There was a little bit of maybe we can do this. Although you had to recover like 2 more onside kicks in a row. It was too little, too late at that point. If they could have gotten that rally started a little bit earlier in that first half, it could have been a different story. But as I said, you can never count Bluffton out of a ball game with that high octane offense. You just got to be ready earlier on. Be ready for the start of that ball game. You can't sleep around against teams of that caliber. But maybe this is the week that they figured out. Hayden Gregory's a great coach. I believe in that group. I think he is motivating this team to the standard that needs to be set. Like, there were mistakes that were made on both sides of the ball last night that I'm sure Hayden Gregory lost some sleep about. I mean, he strives for excellence. He's that kind of guy, and
definitely
that's something that I don't think we'll see from Bluffton in terms of those mistakes or unforced errors week after week. I think that this team will correct those things as you get into region play, and they don't count them out if they can start getting things rolling in a region that is wide open for the taking right now. So.
Yeah,
it might be a tough stretch for Bluffton. This is kind of the time of the year to really see where a team like this is made of, and a great opportunity to show yourself against quality opponent in Lucy Beckham. So very intriguing over there at the Den this week, and so we'll look forward to Max's updates from Bluffton. Always a great.
What you got, Max?
Sorry, I just wanted to mention before we move on to the next game, I do have a volleyball score. I have Hillnet Christian Academy was facing off against JP2 tonight, and we've been talking about how good JP2 has been this season. Well, Hillnet Christian Academy just won in 5 sets to JP2 tonight. 3-2.
How about that?
I don't have the scores from each set, but that was the score that I just got word from.
It's a stunner.
Yeah,
a bit of a stunner.
Congratulations, Coach Jackson, our Waves coach. Coach Jackson, his daughter Caitlin, a big hitter for the Eagles. So congrats to her. She's doing the whole recruiting thing, trying to play beach volleyball at the next level. So she's been going on a bunch of visits. Yeah,
beach
pretty cool.
So much fun.
All right, so congrats to the Eagles, and thanks to Mickelson Law Firm for presenting our Hilton Head Christian Academy coverage. That update from Max Arraj presented by Mickelson Law Firm. We talked about both these teams in passing, and we're going to have to pick up the pace a little bit here, fellas. Philip Simmons at Whale Branch, 2A matchup. Philip Simmons, we mentioned they beat Beaufort, but then they've also had a couple kind of head scratchers. Beckham blew them out, which it's 5A versus 2A, so it is what it is. And then they lost to Bishop England as well, which I didn't really anticipate. So I think this is, a winnable game for Whale Branch. I think they've got to be better than they've been the last couple of games. They've been a little bit, a little unimpressive on offense. And the defense has been solid. But let up a lot in the second half against Woodland. So I'm on the fence on this one. I hate going against Whale Branch, but I really like that Philip Simmons team. Convince me to be a homer, boys.
Well,
who's got the most compelling case?
Not as inspired as I wish I would have been. It was a sloppy second half for the Warriors. Turnovers and just gave up some big plays early on defense, and it kind of fell apart. They did keep themselves in it in that first half, but just like we said last week, we need to see more from that run game. It just has not been up to par so far. The blocking needs to get better. And this is the Philip Simmons team that we saw how good they could be. They got a nice win against Buford. It's always a tough team to face. I like Simmons in this game. It's just Whale Branch. It seems like they have taken a big hit losing a guy like KJ Chisholm. He was that guy who would step up in the clutch and provide not just the offensive spark plug, but he made plays on defense as well. He was
And
that
special
guy.
teams.
Yeah. So that's losing multiple players in one. Not saying that Whale Branch doesn't still have some guys, but they certainly do. But Philip Simmons right now lost to Bishop England, showing Bishop England might be a team to look out for potentially in this region.
Yeah, they're better than I expected.
Yeah, they could be a foil for sure. It could make things pretty interesting. Any given Friday night, we could see Bishop England knocking off any of those other squads in 6-4A. But back to this matchup, Philip Simmons so far, they're blowing up at Lucy Beckham. Nice win over Hanahan, and then a solid victory over Buford. I still haven't seen enough from Whale Branch to really convince me that they will get it done against the Iron Horses this time. They had a nice bounce back after that first loss to Bluffton, but now we're seeing they just don't have enough horses in the tank, and against the Iron Horses. Seems like they have a little bit more. I'm going to go.
They're all horses.
Yeah,
Philip
Simmons has more of them.
Iron horses at that.
I was ready to go with Whale Branch because they need a win bad, but Wes convinced me to go with Philip Simmons. Things are tough there at Whale Branch right now, and those are some really good teams that you just mentioned there, Wes, in that region, and that seems to be a pretty stacked region at the top. I'm going to go with Philip Simmons on this one.
Max? Or shall I go? I think I decided.
Yeah, I've decided. I'm not fully sold yet on Whale Branch. I mean, I was at that game against Ridgeland, but they struggled that first half against Ridgeland, despite you know how they did on special teams. As an offense, they struggled pretty devastatingly against Ridgeland. So I'm not sold yet on this Whale Branch team. I hope they can improve, but I'm not sold yet. And for those reasons, I think Philip Simmons is a better team in this game. I think Philip Simmons kind of puts a smackdown on Whale Branch. Unfortunately, I think Philip Simmons wins by three scores.
Ooh, I'm actually going the other direction. I'm going with Whale Branch. My rationale is just that. The ground game's pretty good for Philip Simmons, but Whale Branch has been pretty solid against the run. There's one receiver who can hurt you, and Dayon Brown can usually take one guy out of the game. So I'm gonna say that they got a good game plan on defense. They keep it a low scoring game, and Whale Branch pulls this one out.
You have a point, especially when you look at how they performed early, because really there were a few plays away from making this competitive game, and even when they went down, the defense still fought hard. They forced turnover close to the goal line and scored on it. So there's a recipe for success that's still up there for Whale Branch. But they have to execute and perform a lot better throughout if they want to win this ball game. But
for sure,
that loss kind of fuels them to take the extra step this week, and we can see that.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I'm not going to get burned by discounting Jerry Hatcher after a loss again. Like it's a major factor. The red ass Hatcher factor, we'll call it. He's gonna get out. He got after him this week, so I think they're gonna come out. I'm going to Branch. The Ridgeland game was canceled. They win by forfeit over Burke. We mentioned that earlier. Hardyville, my boys going to Lee Central. Lee Central has been kind of all over the place as far as their results go. I can't get a good read on them. They've got a couple that I'm like, oh, well, maybe they're pretty good. And then a couple that you're like, oh, well, maybe not, which is 1A football, I guess. Right. So they lost badly to Timberland, as you expect. They beat Burke, who's not very good. They lost a close game to a good Chesterfield team, and then they beat a decent Hannah Pamplico team. So it looks like they're trending in the right direction. But you know me, I gotta go with them Canes. Gotta go with them Canes. We're going on the road, bringing it home, taking some momentum into the Ben Riley Classic.
I'm going to join you, JJ. Going with the Canes.
Well, let me sweeten the pot for you. Kevin with the red shoes. He's a 277-pound freshman.
I heard about him earlier this week.
Yeah. He's eligible now. He's eligible now. He got his physical. He's been at practice. The boys told me he picked everything up real fast. So it looks like we may be able to slot Kevin with the red shoes in on the offensive line, and I think we got a real shot. Got a real shot this week. Kevin with the red shoes. He just got to get some goggles for his vision. Yeah, he's gonna look like a minion out there.
I'm impressed with the start for the Canes. I like what they're doing at Hardyville. It's been cool how you've been a part of it so far, JJ, and the vibes after that first win must be immaculate over there over Bowman. But now it's the reality of playing a tough schedule has kind of set in for this team. This is a little bit more of a winnable game.
Fair fight. It's a fair fight.
Lee Central so far, they've beaten Hannah Pamplico in Burke. They lost a tight one to Chesterfield. I think this one is
That's the one that worries me.
Yeah.
That's the one that worries me because Chesterfield's pretty good.
Yeah. Just a 1-point game. I think this is a closer contest. Hardyville playing on the road.
Yeah.
Yep, that's not an easy matchup against a Lee Central team that's shown a lot of fight this year. I think it's a much more competitive game for the Canes. I think Lee Central does take it in a close one on the road, but still, I think there'll be a lot more to hang your hat on if you're Hardyville going into the big one next week against Ridgeland.
No doubt. We're going to have to get a dartboard in the classroom, in the newsroom, and put Wes's picture up on it. Max, where are you going, buddy?
I'll go Hardyville. I think they've had a tough enough schedule to where they can play a team like Lee Central, and I think they can be competitive because they've been able to play teams like Hilton Head High School. They've played a Whale Branch school that may be struggling, but is competition, a challenge for Hardyville. They've had a challenging schedule, and I think this is a game that's definitely more competitive. And when it's more competitive, I think Hardyville will take that advantage of having a competitive game, and I think they'll put it to good use. I'm gonna go Hardyville here, but we'll make it close against Lee.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tight one. I hope we can pull it off, man. I'm picking that one with my heart 100%. Not gonna lie. Still waiting on a score from my volleyball girls tonight, by the way. I don't know if they got it done against Allendale or not. Sitting on pins and needles, wondering. Yeah. But they got us last time, but we've been making big improvements. So that is all for the high school league game. So we can check out these Skiza games, and we'll make
a really good one.
Yeah, we'll make the Skiza segment presented by the varsity sponsors of LowcoSports. DDS Web Design builds, hosts, and maintains websites. So if you need to get found online so you can do more and think bigger, go to ddshhi.com. Parker Law Group serves legal needs across Colleton, Hampton, and Jasper counties and helps us continue to expand our coverage in those counties and shine a light on more deserving teams and student athletes around the Lowco. Dr. Ambrose Coles, our official chiropractor. You can find him at Rooted Living Wellness in Bluffton, and he'll get you feeling right, mind, body, and spirit. And Reverence Wrestling Club, our official wrestling sponsor, presenting sponsor of the Lowco Grind. Take your skills on the mat to the next level at Reverence Wrestling Club. So now let's get into those Skiza games. And Wes, you said there's a really good one. Unfortunately, it's outside of our area, but a couple of perennial powers, Hilton Head Christian Academy traveling up the road to Hammond up in Columbia, and that is going to be a heck of a battle, I think. I'm thinking Hammond probably has the edge, but I'll see if our resident HHCA homer can convince me otherwise.
Looking at who Hammond's played this year, they've played Porter Goud. They've also played Pinewood Prep. They've won both of those games. They beat Pinewood Prep pretty convincingly, 48-14. And then they beat Porter Goud 28-15. I think it's going to be a good game, but I don't know. We're talking about the number one team in all of Skiza.
Yeah, they did Dynasty.
At home against Stonehead Christian Academy. It's just if Christian Academy can show up and play their best game, it will be close. But even then, I can't choose Christian Academy in this one. I would love to, but I can't. With my heart, I'm choosing Christian Academy. With my mind, I got to go with Hammond here. I think Hammond's just too good, and the way they played against Pinewood Prep, I saw some of the footage from that game. It's going to be tough for Christian Academy.
Yeah.
Pinewood Prep has a solid team too, so it's going to be a dogfight, I think. But I think ultimately by the fourth quarter, Hammond pulls away.
If it's a dogfight, it's a win for HHCA. Honestly, it's a 43-point spread in the transitive property game.
I think they're going to play this game with a little bit of caution too, because they also have to play Pinewood Prep next Friday.
I do too.
Super injured going into that game. Because that game next Friday is for the region title, and there's no doubt about that.
I mean, I think you go all out early, but if it starts to get out of hand, you got to get starters out there.
Exactly. Perspective. But 7 straight football state championship at the Skiza level for Hammond. This is a dynasty we're talking about, who continues to churn out state titles at the highest Skiza level. Great to see these two teams go up against each other, because you have not seen this very much. To check one of those tools that we've used the last time.
Only two other times. There's
been
2 other times these two schools have played. Hammond visited Hilton Head Christian Academy back in, I believe it was 2000.
I got
you
four.
Got
4 times. Yeah, in
I know the last time they played them was
06, 07, 12, and 13.
Yes,
it's been a while, over a decade.
12 was the one they came and visited Hilton Head Christian Academy, won 37-0, and then Christian Academy won every game after that to win a state championship. And then in 2012,
that was 12, and then 13 it was 49-13 Hammond.
Yes,
that was Ryan Mitch's debut.
Yeah, and Christian Academy would go on and be the state runner-ups that year. So I think this could be a good game, but I can't go against a team that's won 7 straight state championships. Sorry, I want to.
Inconceivable.
I want to Eagle fans. I really do, but I got to go Hammond in this one. But I'll give Christian Academy the benefit of the doubt. I think they keep it close through the third quarter. If it pulls away, it'll be in the fourth quarter. But I think Hammond wins by 3 touchdowns.
And I'll go Hammond as well.
Sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds about right. You got to go Hammond.
Monster too. They got some big boys on their offensive line.
It's a great opportunity for Christian, though. I'm sure that Peduzzi has really, hyped it up this week as the opportunity they have. Nobody expects us to win. Every coach loves the opportunity to give that speech.
This game is good for Christian Academy because I think it helps them see where they are.
Yeah.
Plus, eventually in the future, Christian Academy eventually, I think, will end up making that move to Skiza 4A football eventually. I think I think it's a bit of a ways away, but I think, they're currently building a new building on that campus.
It's coming.
Seems inevitable. It's like down the road.
Double the size of that high school and that school as a total.
Yeah.
So eventually,
I like our boy.
Is going to play 4A football.
I like our boy Rob Benson's idea of the Skiza 5A, where you get all the charters and get the privates from Savannah to come over too, just like they did with the other Skiza divisions, the big ones, Savannah Christians, the Country Days, the Calvaries, and you get them in with the Porter Gouds and all of them, and the Oceansides and the Gray. And
can I say something?
That would be fun.
It would be fun, but I doubt Savannah Christian would give up getting to play at Mercedes-Benz Stadium for their state championship game.
You don't think they'd want to play it, at Charleston Southern or play
It's
their
a nice place for the state
No.
championship game. I
play
love,
their
I love CSU. It's
No.
their
it's Buccaneer
their
Field
basketball
is great.
state championships at the Sumter Rodeo Grounds or whatever that is that we're playing.
Dude,
The
that is
Sumter-
the worst.
Sumter
Can I
Civic Center,
say? Can I
you have the
say with
Skeezer
that?
basketball.
I still don't know
Hey.
to this day why they play in Sumter for the basketball championship tournament. I still don't understand to
know.
this day. It's the most outdated gym I've ever seen. Anyway,
It's
Yeah,
interesting.
it's great that they have the
Can we move
JP2
on?
game.
We can move on. We can move on.
Yeah,
That was amazing.
that was great.
We
we did
can
have
move on.
We've had some good memories over there in Sumter for sure, especially
Oh yeah.
that classic girls game a couple of years ago. But we've had a good, and a lot of state championships went over there. So hey, when your local teams win championships, it makes it a iconic venue. It makes it you have happy memories from going there.
No doubt. Yeah, I definitely have good memories from there, but I also have the vision of that place involved in it.
Yeah.
Bethesda, getting back on track, Bethesda Academy at Patrick Henry. Patriots have had 2 tough L's in a row where they really battled throughout the game and came up just short at the end. Looking to get back on track against a Bethesda team that scheduled up early and battled some tough teams and now seems to be kind of turning the corner and beating up on the people they're supposed to beat up on. This is a really good matchup. I don't know which way to go. I really don't. I'm torn on this one. I'm leaning Patrick Henry at the farm. I'm leaning, but I'm going to do a little research while you guys talk through it.
I'm going to go Patrick Henry. Mathis just continues to deliver, and Patrick Henry is coming up in some great moments. They had the great game a couple weeks ago, despite losing. Or I think it was a couple weeks ago, or was it last week?
BA.
Academy.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago against BA, last week against Dorchester.
Right.
Yep.
You know, they continue to show out, and they're of course one of the teams that I haven't followed up closely really until hearing more about them over the last couple of years. They seem to really have a really good program and great guys with good heads on their shoulders. I'm going to go Patrick Henry with the win at home.
This is an interesting game. Bethesda is kind of a spoiler at points for some of our area teams, and they've been better this year. Bethesda has been a tough group to face off against. Patrick Henry coming off the rough taste of a game they probably should have won. Although, give credit to Dorchester, that was a heck of an effort there. Dylan Price, I'm sure, over the moon to see the Raiders. I'm trying to remember.
The Raiders.
Raiders. But yeah, tremendous ball game over there, and still Patrick Henry almost got him there at the end. They had a chance to go on that incredible drive, down 6 with a minute to go, but unable to see that out to fruition. This is going to be a heck of a game, though. First off, love the atmosphere of Patrick Henry. There's nothing better than baseball on the farm, but this certainly rivals it to playing in the whatever they call it to the football field.
It's Cone Field.
Great
Cone Field.
Cone Field. All right, Cone Field's the home field for the PHA Patriots. This is an interesting ball game. Although I will say, Patrick Henry, those last 2 losses have been decided by less than the possession. They lost by 2 against Buford Academy and then by 6 against Dorchester. So a couple of narrow defeats for the Patriots. This is not going to be easy. Bethesda has shown some strong performances this year. JP2 certainly. The defense played well, but
that was a weird game. That was a weird game in the rain.
But Hillnet Prep, that's one they should have had, and they did. Give me Patrick Henry in this one. I think that the bad aftertaste of those 2 back-to-back tough losses, I think they really commit themselves to get that much better at practice and put up a strong performance back at home. So the Bethesda is always going to be a good foil and a strong opponent going up against these Lowco teams, and obviously another Skeeza squad who this is a team that's always capable of making a run. Bethesda has been there year in and year out in the Skeeza landscape, and I expect them to be a tough team to face once we get into the postseason. And they are the defending state champions. and
Yep.
won on an absolutely bizarre finish against
Yeah.
Williamsburg, where I think somebody missed a field goal, or
Yeah.
I think they missed a field goal, but there's like a penalty that gave some crazy things happened because I was driving on the bus.
Yeah. They got to re-kick it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a crazy championship game. Oh, this Bethesda team, they may not be that squad they were last year. Still a very, very strong team, and they're gonna give Patrick Henry a good game. I think it's a good night for. I still think
They
the
both have
Stricklander
young quarterbacks
and,
too, so it's going to be
yeah,
interesting.
but I think Stricklander and Blue will leave this one happy. I think Patrick Henry gets it.
Well, I think Blue will be happy when Stricklander gets home, regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Did we win or did we lose? I don't care.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Patrick Henry. They're gonna come into this game mad as can be after losing two close games. They want to win here, and I think this is where they get a win. I'll take Patrick Henry, but I think make it close because Bethesda will give them a fight no matter what.
No, I didn't have that one on my schedule for some reason, but Nick Underwood says we are Dorchester's homecoming tomorrow. BA at Dorchester. Ooh.
All right, a late
Might as well
edition.
get in on that
Edition,
one.
that's another.
Yeah, I
game.
didn't have that one on my schedule somehow, but that's a
good
good one.
I like all these
Dorchester's
cross conference or these cross, region
Right?
games where you have it kind of gives you a good sense of like these teams that you can see in the playoffs, and you get to see them in the regular season, which is kind of fun. That's a toss-up game for me. Dorchester certainly looked the part last week.
They both
It's
beat
gonna
Patrick
be-
Henry
it's gonna
in
be decided
dogfights.
by probably one possession or so. It's a tight one. Man, Dorchester certainly showed me that they are a very strong football team with real opportunities of taking this deep into these 1A playoffs. Another team you want to face down the stretch. Just seeing how they performed against a very good Patrick Henry squad. They're right up there. I'm going to take Buford Academy. I'm going to take Buford Academy in this game, and the reason why is Nick Underwood can take over a game. He is a tremendous running back. He can give you some well played series on defense, and they have a bunch of guys that go so unheralded under the radar that just play sound defense, force turnovers. When I saw them play, I saw them play Hilton Prep. When I saw them play that last one at home, I was incredibly impressed with what I saw against Patrick Henry because these two teams are so evenly matched, but the fact that and the kicking game. I mean, you saw the kicker come up big with that field goal, who also made a big play on that punt that he got off. So, it's just a really well coached team. Schufer's a great coach. We've seen that before, and everybody just plays his role or her. I'm sure there are females who play on many of these teams. Play their roles.
Not very many.
Yeah, especially the kickers. A lot of female kickers.
Only a couple.
Yeah. But each player playing their role well, and BA. I mean, I like the vibes there early on this year. That first loss against a good Northwoods Academy team, but after that they showed what they are capable of against Hilton and perhaps certainly the game they should have won. They did, and then a couple of hard fought wins 3 in a row. St. John's Christian, Patrick Henry Academy. They know how to win football games. They know how to win.
I think they're getting better every week. I think they are
I
truly
agree.
getting better every week.
I'm going to go with them. BA is a really, really talented football team. I think you guys have been really high on them as well as PHA. Definitely going to go with BA in this one.
All right. I am also going to go BA. My reasoning may be unsound, but homecoming's a distraction, man. Like there's a reason why coaches want to schedule patsies for homecoming, and it's because they know that their kids are going to go through the motions because there's too much going on. It's too much.
You're supposed to schedule.
They're thinking about all the wrong things homecoming week, and I know coaches hate it. They hate it because it's just too much. It's too many distractions.
Right.
And it's hard to treat it like a normal game when everybody is treating
Okay.
it like
20-minute
when
halftime.
it's like Easter or Christmas at church, like
right.
people who don't
you have
even
all the
come are
festivities.
coming
A lot of
out.
times you have players that are part of the homecoming court these days. So.
Yeah, that I hate that.
Yeah.
They don't even get to go listen to the halftime talk. They're out there preening for photos. I understand why we do it. I do. But as a coach, I understand why they hate it. And I think it's a problem when you got an evenly matched game. I think you better have a patsy coming
I don't know
in.
who's responsible for determining which game is the homecoming
I
game.
mean, there's two. That's part of the problem. There's too many people involved in that aren't thinking about the football side of it.
Yeah.
And there's too many factors involved. Well, we need it to be a weekend that blah, 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 or it traditionally corresponds with this or that. I mean, there's a lot of things going on there. It's one of those deals that it just is what it is. But that's why as a coach, you're like, please just give me an opponent we can roll over. And the starters can be done playing at halftime when they go do the homecoming court. They're not coming back in the game. Like, just don't make us be in a fight that night because it's going to not go our way. So I'll go BA. That's my long way of saying I'll go BA.
Yeah. I'll go BA as well.
That's my tiebreaker in that one. And Trauma Unit Gaming has waited very impatiently once this Carleton Prep Clarendon Hall preview, which should be a pretty easy one because Clarendon Hall's 0-4 and been getting trucked by people 3 points in the last 2 games. Give me them Warhawks, baby. They're getting back on track.
Get right game for Carleton Prep. Warhawks by a couple scores. I like Carleton Prep in this one.
I do too.
Yeah, I'll take them big.
I'm taking Carleton Prep. I think Carleton Prep runs over Clarendon Hall in this one. I think this is a kind of a tune-up game for Carleton Prep to, a good momentum game for them as they continue their season.
By the way, don't be discouraged by that 55-28 loss for Carleton Prep last week against Calhoun. I think Calhoun might win 2A. Calhoun's loaded. They got that Colt Layton kid. He's only a sophomore. He's a stud baseball player. And he's playing quarterback, and he's legit. And they got some other guys who can run the ball. They're real good. So I think Carleton Prep is fine. I still think they're a really solid 1A team that's going to give somebody everything they want in the playoffs, whoever they play.
I just steal 1 or 2 games against somebody decent.
The hard thing for them is it looks like they play all of them on the road from here on out.
Yeah, they got a lot of. They're at BA. They're at
BA, Patrick Henry.
Yeah, all the tougher games are away from home, so that's.
But they're going to be battle tested. Time they get to playoffs, I'm telling you, nobody's. All those 1A games are going to be straight up fights in the first round.
I'm excited for how that regular season, region slate, and then postseason. It's going to be fantastic. Yeah,
I mean, even first round playoff games are just going to be. I think the 1-4 games are both going to be competitive. We all went BHS. The injury report was looking rough for your boys at Creek, Nick. We had Damian out, Derek out, Nigel Fripp out. That had us a little spooked. So
Nick, of course, I'm not making a pick because I'm calling the game.
Yeah, that's true. Marcus did not make a pick.
It's going to be an interesting
The rest
night.
of us
Looking
took
forward to getting out there.
That's right. And then finally, last but not least, the Ohio Skibbity Toilet Bowl.
The what?
Ohio Skibbity Toilet Bowl. That's a middle school joke. It's that was mean. I'm sorry. But Conway Christian is 1-45 all time, and they've lost 43 straight. But they're coming down to City Hall in Hardyvale to take on the winless all-time Cross Stingrays. And someone will celebrate on Friday night. We tried to get Cross State Championship girls basketball coach Matthew Fisher-Davis to be our celebrity guest picker tonight, but he was out of gas, out of road tonight, so he had to take a pass. But it is homecoming for Cross, which could be the doom
Yeah.
the jinx. I don't know, man. I don't know what way to go with this. You're putting your faith in somebody who ain't done it before. Whoever you pick,
you know what? I'm going with Cross. I'm going
you're
with the
homering it.
yeah. You got to go Cross here. You got to go. You got to go with the
I
local
agree.
score. I wanted to see it happen. They need that win. They need that win.
How many times have we said it within the last month, let alone the last couple of years or few years, certainly since I've known about their football team? Yeah, it's homecoming night for them. And JJ, you just said, the issues with that in certain matchups, but this is literally, I say this in my cold opens a lot for the games that we do. This is a something's got to give kind of football game for sure. I'm going with Cross. Give me the Stingrays. I feel like I should have a head on like Lee Corso for this one.
Yeah, put the Stingray head on.
Let's go.
It's the easily movable force versus the barely perceptible, or the barely perceptible force versus the easily movable object, right? The opposite of what we usually say. No, it's a great opportunity for both these teams, though, truly. Yeah. Because Conway has been outscored 44-230, and Cross has been outscored 20-219. So neither one of these teams has been in anything resembling a fair fight yet, and they're about to have one on Friday. So it might look like a slap fight at times, but at least they'll be on even footing. It won't be, where it looks like you're playing Madden on the easy difficulty level. Who you got, Max? You going with these boys and homering it?
Conway Christian has not won a game since their first season as a football program. When they played,
amazingly, still has the same coach though that whole time. Wow. Amazingly.
How? Wow. All right. Wow. Never mind. I'm not going there. Not a single win since their first season. Keep that streak going, man. Come on, Stingrays. It's time to rise up, baby. Let's go. I'm taking Cross Schools here. Make it close though. I think this is gonna be a fight between these two teams. Someone's gonna win this game and start off on a new streak. So give me Cross Schools.
You guys gave me no cover here. If I go out and say Conway Christian, I'm the only guy who's doing it. But on the other hand, if I say Cross, then I'm going against what I just said about homecoming. I'm shooting my own hot take right out of the sky.
I think
so. You know what?
That's what they need.
I got to stick to my guns. I do not think the coming home of the Cross grads is going to inspire this team enough to overcome the youth and inexperience. I think Conway Christian, they've been hungry for this one for a long time. They're going to spoil homecoming in City Hall. I'm going with the Eagles on this one, but it's close. It's close. It might come down to a 2-point conversion. There's a lot of those in 8-man football.
I feel like it's going to be one of those crazy situations where it's some wild play that determines the ball.
Hey, you never know.
I agree.
You never know. Maybe homecoming is just what Cross needs after what
maybe
season's been.
Sometimes,
you never know.
Maybe. I mean, somebody's going to win. It could easily be Cross. All right. Well, that is all the games, boys. So let's shout out the Lowco Booster Club. If you can support them, please do, because they support us. Court Lifestyle Pros, Daniel and Debbie Court, Marcus's friends and mine. They're with Charter One Realty. They want to bring you home to Hilton Head Island. Eagle Creations has promotional items and custom apparel, custom gift baskets, and plus much more over at their showroom on Argent Boulevard. Check out what they can do for you. Jay's Barbershop, great place in downtown Ridgeland. Go in for the great conversation. Come out looking stylish at Jay's Barbershop. Barefoot Floor Care of the Low Country. Chris Odom checked in tonight. He'll get your floors so clean your feet will thank you. Hudson Seafood House on the Docks, presenting sponsor of Under the Bus. They've got great seafood and the best sunsets on Hilton Head Island at Hudson Seafood House. And Hurricane Sports Cafe. If you're in Hampton and you need something to eat or drink, stop by and tell them the guys from Lowco sent you and said hello. We love the people at Hurricanes. I've got a parting thought for you, but do you guys have any other parting thoughts?
Well, Marcus, I want to hear your thoughts on one of the best single game performances I've ever seen and not just
Oh
Major
my
League Baseball,
God.
Jeez,
but
dude.
in sports, Shohei Ohtani, an absolutely bonkers performance for the ages. 6 for 6 with 3 home runs, 2 doubles, 10. I said that right. 10 RBIs.
Shohei woke up and said, you know what? I'm going to do 50-50 today.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do Ask the Audience. I'm not going to do the photo friend. Give me the 50-50.
Give me the 50-50.
And just
And he
an
did it.
incredible
Good.
player, for
He
sure.
did it in Miami. How
And-
fitting.
It's
And-
a shame they don't still have that big home run statue because that thing was amazing.
Just a crazy accomplishment from a great player. Obviously, he gets talked about the most in comparison to Babe Ruth for what he's been able to do, not just hitting the ball, as a DH. I think he does play possibly an occasional first, but what he's been able to do certainly on the mound when healthy as well. I mean, he's going to go down as definitely one of the greats, and for sure a guy that we're going to be talking about with our kids. No doubt you're talking about him with yours, JJ.
Well, my kids got to see him pitch against the Braves in
there
person,
you go.
so
That's
that
true.
was amazing.
There you go.
And hit, obviously. We don't have the express written consent of Major League Baseball, but I did find an image of Shohei that we can share on the show. There he is. Yeah. There he is.
Oh, jeez.
Can I just say this, though, before I congratulate Shohei Ohtani? Poor Miami Marlins fans, dude. I feel like they're on the worst side of history every time it comes around. Seriously.
I don't know. I don't think it's so bad for somebody to make history.
I believe Ronald Acuna
against
Jr.
you.
had his 40-70 record when they were playing the Marlins. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they were playing the Marlins when that happened.
The craziest stat I've heard about the 50-50 thing that blew my mind is that no one had done 50-25 since Willie Mays.
Wow.
Yep. That's crazy.
That's incredible.
That's insane.
Yep.
That is nuts.
Totally insane.
And on top
But
of
no,
that,
Shohei is amazing.
yeah, the first player in Major League Baseball history to check all these boxes in one game. He got 10 RBIs, 6 hits, 5 extra base hits, 3 home runs, 2 stolen bases. Nobody's ever done that before. All 5 of those feats in one game.
This is like not only is it just Shohei,
and they might use him as a closer in the playoffs.
Dude,
They're talking about he might pitch.
If that's the case, game over, man.
Yeah, lights out.
We'll see the Dodgers.
They're
in the World
talking
Series
about.
this year.
They're talking about the possibility of him doing some spot
my
pitching in the
gosh.
playoffs, which would have to be either closer or like just a.
Oh yeah, I would think so. Put him in relief for an inning. But if that's the case, my God, we'll see the Dodgers in the World Series, ladies and gentlemen. I want to say, like, dude, I've never seen someone quite like him. Like, I didn't even know his base running skills were that good. And then I noticed, I was like, dude, he's going to have a 50-50 season. And then when it came around, I was like, holy crap, he had a 50-50 season. I never thought I'd hear the name Shohei Ohtani with a 50-50 season. I didn't ever think that was going to happen. 50 home runs, yes, for sure.
Rare.
50 stolen bases, never thought that
Part
was
of
going to happen.
It's kind of weird, but part of me hopes he doesn't go back to pitching, but just goes to playing the outfield. Because
I agree.
Apparently his arm from the outfield is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if
it's
his
like
arm from
it's
the
like
mound is
Ichiro all over again. Right. It's like
Yeah.
Ichiro all over again, throwing strikes from
jeez.
distance. And
I'm gonna
I feel like that's the one part of his game that we know he has that we haven't gotten to see at the big league level. He has not really played defense.
He's not the only player this year that could be going for some records. We might have some not only Cy Young but possible triple crowns in store towards the end of the Major League Baseball season, because I know Aaron Judge for a while was chasing that triple crown this season. I don't know where the standings in terms of
so he has the lead
Chris Sale could be
right. So Aaron Judge
Chris
has the
Sale
lead
could
with
be in the
53
running.
home runs. I want to just look up the I don't want Major League Baseball.
I think the batting average was the one thing.
Yes, so Bobby Witt is ahead of Bobby Witt and Vlad Guerrero. By the way, how good of a season has Bobby Witt had for the Royals?
My
That-
God, that dude's an animal.
Incredible.
Yeah, but
Bobby Witt's an
Judge
animal.
is 10 points behind in terms of batting average, so he would have.
That's
it
a
would
lot
take
to make
for
up
him to-
this
he
time.
was
However-
still behind under
However,
Vlad
Chris
Guerrero and
Sale,
Bobby
Chris
Witt.
Sale for the Atlanta Braves could be
Yeah.
in the running for the
Oh,
pitching triple crown.
it just gets worse as a Red Sox fan, doesn't it? Yeah, it's
I wasn't gonna go there, Wes, but you put it out there, man. Thank you.
hey,
just gonna
I've
say,
had
man,
my
poor
share
Red
of
Sox
championships.
fans.
I'm not going to complain. I've had my share of championships with the Red Sox. It was nice to grow up when I did to be a Red Sox fan.
Yeah.
How that worked out, but
For
Chris
sure.
had that great run in 18. Certainly made his mark. The injuries of the last few seasons, you didn't know how he'd come back, but man, what a season that he has had healthy for the Atlanta Braves and the Braves team that is still hanging around in the wild card race at the moment
Right.
in the NL.
Can I be honest with you? I'd rather have them not hang around and just wait till next season. If
Yeah.
I'm being honest, I would love to see them in the wild card, and if
I-
they end up playing the
I
Phillies
think
late,
the
in
Mets
SmackDown,
probably
I'm
have it.
sorry,
The
like
Mets
they've
probably
done
have
to us
that
the
last
couple
spot.
seasons.
I don't think. I mean, yeah.
Don't go there, man. Don't
Yeah.
go
What?
there. You want them in there. Once you're in the
never
dance, you
know.
got a
You never
shot.
know.
You got a shot.
never
Lots
know.
of wild card teams have won titles.
Hey,
Fighting with
Arizona
the
was a
Mets
6
for a
seed and they got to
wild
the World
card spot.
Series.
How disastrous is that for the Atlanta Braves to be behind the New York Mets for a freaking wild
Well, the
card
Mets
spot?
were supposed to be good this year.
The Mets were supposed to be good
Mets
for the
were
last
struggled the
few
first
years,
2
but
months,
look
and
who
they
they've
got hot.
been the last few
I
years.
know.
The most disappointing team
Lindor
in
has had
baseball for
an MVP
decades.
caliber. Francisco Lindor has had
Never
no
wish for your
question.
team's season to end before it has to. That's my
I-
advice.
I'd rather have the
enough.
Braves at full health, but that's just
I'm
me.
tired. I'm tired.
All right, we're
Marcus,
well
did you have
past the hour
a
mark.
parting thought?
I got a quick one. Chris Tremblay is going to be doing the game with me tomorrow
Yep.
on WHHI because Daniel, Debbie, and Liliana Court are still doing Jekyll and Hyde. If you have a chance,
Oh yeah.
near the Seahawk Cultural Center on Hilton Head, go see the show. It's terrific. They're working with NAMI to put this show together, and the cast is tremendous. I knew, including the Courts, I knew 6 people that were in the show. Sam and I went and saw it on Sunday afternoon. It was absolutely terrific. Go and see it and support everybody. It's a one-of-a-kind show for sure.
Good call. Good call. I do have a photo of Daniel here from Jekyll and Hyde,
That's
presumably.
Daniel's amazing.
3 of them.
There we go.
It was so awesome.
The whole family. That's the whole family, huh? That's awesome.
That's it.
Very good. Well, my parting thought, I'll give you a little glimpse of what I do during the day. New Canes news drops tomorrow, but we got a little teaser here. This week, we came up with a new segment, Bad Jokes with Teachers. Here it is.
Oh, no.
All right, my name is Joe Telefero. I'm a STEM instructor
Mr.
at the
T.
middle school at Hardyville, and I'm here to tell a bad joke. My joke is, why did the chicken cross the street? Well, most people would say to get it on the other side. No, because a wolf was behind them.
Hello, my name is Ken Howell. I am the new school counselor here, and here's a deadhead joke for you. If a boat turn over, it could fit on top of your head because it'll be capsized. Understand it? Capsized.
Teacher jokes. Oh,
What
Mr.
happens
Smith.
if you drop a white hat in the Red Sea? It gets wet.
I'm Ms.
Miss
Placky
Placky.
Fulmore. I teach science. I'm the department head. So right now I'm teaching biology and forensic science. This is a biology joke. Okay. What is a pirate's favorite amino acid? Arginine.
All right, I'm Dr. Hamid. I teach ESOL. And my best dad joke is your daddy got so many hairs in his nose you can braid them.
Ouch, ouch, ouch!
Bob has no arms.
Okay.
So not
Who's there?
not Bob.
Hi, I'm Tim Saxton. I'm teaching 8th grade social studies.
Oh, man.
And what did the custodian say when he came out of the closet? Supplies!
Oh my.
So there's a little taste of this week's Canes news that I just had to share with you. I thought that would be a fun parting thought. I agree, Chase. So bad it's good. We didn't even get Mr. Willis in there, who we expect to be a highlight of our next Bad Jokes with Teachers segment. And there's quite a few others that I think are going to bring it with the bad jokes. Miss Foster was the best one, though, with Bob. That one killed me. That one killed me. Bob's got no arms. He's not knocking at the door.
Man.
Bob.
Bob.
All right, boys.
Man. Good Lord.
Well, that was a good time. We should have you all ready for kickoff tomorrow night for week 5. Week 5.
Week 5.
Week 5.
It is. Yes.
Season. We are powering through it, boys. But we'll be back tomorrow night at 9:30. I will launch this thing, and we'll see who all is available to jump in and tell us what's going on wherever they are. We'll get you right through the final whistle, let you know what happens all over the Lowco in week 5. Thanks to all of our sponsors, especially Mickelson Law Firm, the OGs, our all-stars, and thanks to everybody who showed up to listen or watch. Thank you, Marcus, for always riding with us on Thursday nights. It's a good time, and we'll see y'all tomorrow night. Until then, for Wes Kerr, Max Arraj, and Marcus Walsh, I'm Justin Jarrett. Go Lowco.
The Lowco Sports Lowdown podcast is a production of Lowco Media LLC and LowcoSports.com, an independent media outlet providing grassroots local sports coverage in the South Carolina Lowcountry. We are sustained by community support from sponsors and patrons like you. Get in the game with a monthly pledge of $1 or more at patreon.com/LowcoSports to keep us going and growing. Go Lowco.